Welcome to another daily vlog. Lindsay and I are not together. She's gone to a night market and I am sitting here on the balcony watching the sunset, doing a lot of reflecting.
I have arrived safely at the night market. Now this is a little bit outside of my comfort zone for two reasons. I don't normally vlog alone or go many places alone or do anything alone. And two, I don't normally go out at night. So this is gonna be an interesting experience and I'm just gonna do my best to bring you guys along for it.
My entire focus has been mental health from the very beginning. I was on drugs from the age of 7 until 25, and the drugs that I was abusing took away my memory. I'm starting to realize things that are difficult to realize, that are difficult to face, about my childhood and about things that went on in my household, about things that made me who I am today, have totally shaped my world paradigms.
It feels so weird being here without Wyatt. I keep thinking, like, what would Wyatt do? Like, he would set the camera down, he'd have us walk by it, he would methodically film the place from, like, where you enter until where we're headed and get us walking in different directions. Yeah.
Oh, this light is no good whatsoever, but the sun is set, and if I don't have this on, you're not gonna be able to see me. That's the thing about traveling. We don't have studio lights like we do when we're at home. In my house growing up, the only emotion was anger. There wasn't really the other ones, the other portion of the spectrum. So I learned to express myself through anger. I learned to feel the world through anger and intensity. And I became so obsessed and infatuated with metal music and lifting weights and football and even martial arts. These were the things that really resonated with me because there was like an anger and an aggression and intensity that I just loved about these activities, and I could really sort of allow myself to feel through them, and it would come out in these like intense bursts of anger. I think the other emotions are what I'm trying to figure out how to feel now, today. Every day I try and feel something. That's the other thing about the drugs that I was on. They made me very numb. I hurt people in ways that I'm really not proud of, and I did a lot of things that I'm really not proud of. And I was desperate. And I did whatever it took. And what was I desperate for? I was desperate for what I have now. No, I shouldn't say I think, I know that. I was desperate to get to where I am now. I didn't know how to get here. I was in the dark with my eyes closed like a blindfold, and I was just feeling around on the ground, trying everything that I could pick up. I picked up and I tried to figure out what I could do with it, kind of more or less looking for a pair of scissors to cut the blindfold off. But in absence of the scissors, I was picking up every object in the dark to see, will this cut the blindfold off? Will this cut the blindfold off? Will this do it? And I found something.
Vegetarian pad thai? I definitely feel disoriented without Wyatt here. Yeah, this is intense. But anyways, I'm sitting at a table and I just ordered some vegetarian pad thai after much confusion about where and how to order. It should be ready momentarily. Thank you. Got the pad thai. First mission accomplished, which was just find food. Before coming here, I wasn't really sure if pad thai was like something that Westerners just think Thai people eat and what Thai food is, or if it was actually like a thing here too. I quickly realized that it's very much a thing here. And it's just like available everywhere, super fresh. It's just awesome, really.
I found a lot of things that got me to here, a lot of things. One of them was marijuana. I can definitely say that. I think it's a medicine. And yeah, I found smoking weed really helped me. Well, it actually freaked me right out. That's what it did. And I needed that. I needed to be freaked out. In that altered state, I needed to see my life from a different perspective because I was so stuck in the anger, the aggression, and this one specific chemical that I was abusing that I had no other perspectives. So when I started smoking weed, it showed me things, and that's what freaked me out, was that it showed me things. And some of the things it showed me, I was like, wow. And then a cycle of denial kicked in because I didn't want to face what the weed was showing me. And then eventually I stopped smoking weed because it was, you hear people say this, like, it makes me paranoid. Definitely made me paranoid. Showed me my life in ways, and then I went, wait, that's my life? That's me? I did those things? I'm doing that? That's how I am? As it expanded my awareness, it was just so difficult to look at the parts of my shadow that it revealed to me.
Wyatt and I spend so much time together, and I still feel like I really miss him right now. Like, I just look around at all these people with their loved ones, like, they're playing a romantic song. I just wish you were here. Coming up is our 7-year anniversary in just under a week. 7 years with just, like, my best friend ever. I love him so much. Every time I go out to eat without him, I get so sad because I wish he was here, but this is good for me. I know it is. To experience traveling alone, even if just for, like, one evening.
Marijuana for me led to mushrooms, magic mushrooms, psilocybin. See, to back up, you have to understand that I was diagnosed with ADHD at a very young age, like grade 2, grade 1. And then I was put on meds grade 2. And I was on different versions of methylphenidate, from Concerta to Strattera to Adderall to Ritalin, from 7 years old till 25. My parents and my school system both encouraged that I take these drugs. You know, when I couldn't sleep at night, there was a drug for that. When I felt depressed, there was a drug for that. When I couldn't focus in class, there was a drug for that. So it only makes sense that I get into my late teens, early 20s, and I start experimenting with other drugs to try and figure out why, or to try and figure out a way to get out of the manic depressive cycle I was in, right? Like, everyone around me from the age of 7 is telling me that drugs are the answer. My father, my mother, my teachers, drugs are the answer. So of course, psychedelics, bring them on. Anything, especially drugs, they've got to be the answer. They've been so far. Why wouldn't a different drug just continue to be the answer? But psilocybin really was for me. I feel as though I had gone so far that if it hadn't have found me, I don't know where my life would have ended up, because I was so on the edge of suicide on a daily basis. And then a friend left a bag of mushrooms in my bed, and best thing that ever happened to me. It wasn't the mushrooms completely. Like, it's not, you don't just take this stuff and then the journey stops. You've made it. Okay, you feel good. Maybe for a moment. I remember my first experience with this compound. I was laying in bed, screaming in ecstasy so loud that Lindsay was worried that the police were going to be called. I remember seeing 2 circles. I had these 2 circles in my mind. And it was like a cable connection, these 2 circles. And when they overlapped, at the end of the tunnel that they created, I could see a star. And every time they overlapped and I could see that star at the end, it just was like an extreme burst of pleasure, of ecstasy. And the craziest part was, that burst of energy that I would feel is how I live my life every day now. It's just a connection that I didn't have, and I didn't know what it was. So my first experience with it was like being a blind man and seeing color for the first time. And genuinely, that's how it went for me. I remember after a few weeks of taking psilocybin fairly regularly, I would look out the window into my backyard and just stare at how green the grass was. Not because I had any sort of lawn skills, it wasn't that green, but because I was seeing the color green for the first time. I was seeing the color blue in the sky for the first time. I remember seeing the first sunset and seeing like really deep reds and pinks. It was just like nothing I could explain. And it was the beginning. I said to Lindsay at one point, I have to do everything it takes to live my life like I'm always on psilocybin. And obviously that's not going to work. I can't live every day on drugs, even though I was for 15 plus years prior, even though I was.
So I just finished my pad thai. I've had in mind forever that I want a purple tank top. I just feel like there's this like hole in my wardrobe that a purple tank top would perfectly fill. So I'm gonna walk around and see if I can find something like that. So something that I find kind of interesting is that the market actually like spills out into the street. Like there are designated market buildings, but then the whole sidewalk is just lined with booths. So it's pretty cool. these tops? 250 baht? I think I'll take this one. Thank you. Oh, I have a bag actually. No bag, I have. Yeah. Thank you so much. I got my purple tank top in like a rare moment of total decision making too. Like oftentimes when I go shopping, I like have to think for so long like, oh, do I want this? Do I not want this? But I don't know, I've kind of had this like vision in my mind of the kind of purple tank top I wanted. And I just found it. So that's exciting.
So I said to her, Lindsay, I'm going to figure out how to feel like this every day. I want to feel like I'm on psilocybin every day. And it wasn't the compound, it was just this state of balance, really. Expanded awareness and perspective that incorporated the rest of the rainbow. I wasn't just stuck in the red anymore. I could perceive the other colors in the visual. I could perceive the other emotions in the feelings. Everything just expanded for me. So what did I do to get to the point where I feel today? Well, one day I did 3 hours of yoga. Now, I had been doing yoga for a long time, but it was more of like trying to treat my arms from drumming and trying to recover from weightlifting. I do 3 hours of yoga. I don't know what possessed me to do it. I get done the yoga, I go upstairs to Lindsay, and she's sitting there waiting to film a video for the day, for the old channel for Wyatt. She looks at me, she goes, oh my gosh, did you take mushrooms today? You can't be on mushrooms. We got film videos. We got work to get done. And I said to her, no, why? She's like, you look like you're on mushrooms, my guy. Like, what are you doing? And I said to her, I did 3 hours of yoga and I feel amazing. And then that was it. It just clicked. I just realized that day that, oh, there are other practices aside from this chemical. I don't have to depend on this like I did the last chemical.
Since I'm alone, it feels like so much time has passed, but it's literally only been an hour and a half. Yeah, I honestly just don't get how people can travel for long periods of time alone. Kudos to you if you've done it. It seems like it would just be a lot. And you'd also, I guess, have to rely on like going to hostels and making friends that way and stuff too. Like I know that is a thing you can do if you do travel alone. Okay, so one night market has led straight into another. Whoop! Oh my god, I just hit an umbrella. Oh, I'm so embarrassed. Oh. Oh my god, vlogging alone is such a different experience. But anyways, yeah, the street of stalls has literally like created a pathway between one night market to another night market to another night market. Okay, so the way this is all set up is that there's literally like streets lined with booths that are connecting 3 different night markets all together. I've just entered the 3rd one. Look how pretty that is! Look how cute! I'm getting much better at filming by myself now. People are looking at me, but I'm just smiling. I feel like my energy and everybody else's energy around me has like totally shifted. I started this night like so honestly like sad at dinner because I missed Wyatt and I just like get sad when I'm eating alone. But now like, I don't know, I'm having a great time. They're playing Simple Plan. There's all this like cool street food stands around me. I got a purple tank top. Like, this is a great night.
I was just practicing yoga like 2, 3, 4 hours every day, whatever it took. I just wanted to feel peace and at ease. And then it led to other things. Meditation came. Incense. Incense is a big one. Lighting an incense in your space. Try it if you've never done it before. Just sit by an incense. Watch it burn for a little while. Don't do it with the intention of feeling better, but just do it and see what happens for you. I promise. It'll be interesting. Recently I had a realization. My friend Amanda, she says to me, she used to come and do the ice baths with me every morning. And I would get in the ice bath and I would be in there sometimes 30, 45 minutes in ice water. She said to me, you know, I've never met anyone who is so willing to just get it over with. And it really resonated with me because it's true what she's saying. I have this sort of like, whatever it takes, let's get it done attitude. And that made it easy for me to wake up at 2 a.m. for years to build my first YouTube channel. I used to get up at 2 a.m. so that I could work 8 hours on my YouTube channel before going to work 8 hours at my day job. And it was just that. It was the discipline was fairly straightforward for me because I was driven, but I was also willing to just get it over with. Whatever it took, I'll make the sacrifice. Let's just get it over with. I don't care about the pain. When she made this observation, you're so willing to get it over with, I had this flashback to these times where I would get hit because I made a mistake. And my dad would come into my room with his belt and he would say those words, let's get it over with. So now I have this association with that. Just say it. Let's get it over with. Because when it's done, everything goes back to normal. Everything is easy. After it's over with, who knows? It doesn't matter. At least the suffering now will be over with. I'm going to 6 a.m. yoga because in the back of my head, there's this father figure and son figure. And the father is saying, if you don't do these things, you will be grounded. And there was this intense realization that my discipline for my even going to yoga classes, it wasn't enjoyment. I had talked myself into this loop, this circle that was essentially this paradigm of if you don't do this, there'll be hell to pay. And living from that standpoint, it doesn't matter what you do, you're living in fear. You're not living out of excitement and love and creation. You're not living for tomorrow, you're living to get through today. So that is the root of a lot of where I was and where I'm processing through to be in a better place now. So what does this have to do with travel? Well, travel has accelerated the process, I think. Or maybe not. Maybe I accelerated the process before I left, and then travel was sort of the natural extension or manifestation of that acceleration. Got to the point where I wasn't making enough progress on my own at home. So we left, and there have been very huge steps along the way. I mean, I was very, very materialistic before, and the exercise of selling all of our belongings to leave on the road, sell everything you own except for what you can fit in 2 backpacks. That's huge for somebody who grew up with everything I wanted. My childhood was filled with all the latest toys, gadgets. I never had hand-me-downs. It was always brand new clothes every time back to school came. From a material standpoint, things were bliss, and I was very materialistic because of it. My whole meaning in life was to earn money to buy things. So there's an example, I guess. Another one that sort of took me completely outside the comfort zone so I could discover a new perspective. So there you can see how what I was doing unconsciously with drugs in the beginning of the awakening, marijuana, eventually leading to psychedelics, essentially is just getting myself outside of a comfort zone and freaking myself out a little sometimes so that I can see things from a different perspective, a different angle. Now I'm able and willing to do it from the standpoint of sell all my belongings, or even just going to a different country, dropping yourself into a completely new culture. These are ways now in which I can definitely more healthy, balanced ways of taking myself outside of my comfort zone so I can see what there is to see.
Got together and the songs took a dream come true. So speak on that in the hand, no girl style and your eyes so blue.
Well, there you have it, guys. That was my night out solo at the night market in Chiang Mai, Thailand. At this point, I think I'm just gonna get a grab bike home and go to bed.
Thanks for listening. I hope you enjoyed. We're daily vlogging so that we can show you inside of our lives, and this to me is my life. This truly is. It's a story, so it's just an illusion. It's completely made up. There is no past and there's no future. There's just this present moment. And I'm not holding on to this story as much as I was at one point. I think in sharing it here now, I can let it go to a higher degree. But also, maybe it resonates for you. Maybe one of the things that I said will help you on your journey. If not, just leave it all where you found it. I appreciate you listening nonetheless. Thank you. And we will see you all in tomorrow's daily vlog.